Want to plan the perfect Disney cruise but not sure where to start? From picking the right ship and itinerary to booking tips and must-know deadlines, we're breaking down everything you need to know. Plus, stick around to the end where I share the 3 biggest mistakes I see families make when booking a Disney cruise and how you can avoid them. Hey everyone, I'm Shelby with Reyes Family Adventures, and we are here sharing our adventures as a family of 3. We also give tips, tricks, recommendations, everything you need to know specifically about Disney vacations, whether on land or sea. If you're new here, be sure to like and subscribe so you can follow along for more Disney Cruise Line and other family vacation tips and tricks. So let's get into it. The ships. Let's start off with selecting a ship. So first of all, you can't go wrong with any Disney cruise ship. So if there's only one ship that fits your budget, your dates, and your itinerary, go for it. You're gonna have a blast. But if you have more flexibility and you're choosing between a few different options, there are some things you may wanna know about the different ships. Disney Cruise Line currently has 6 ships that are sailing in service, and they have 2 more ships that will begin sailing at the end of the year, making 8 total ships by the end of 2025 in service. Each one offers something unique, different themes, and a different vibe overall. The Disney Magic and the Wonder are the smallest ships. These are Disney Cruise Line's first ships. They give you a more intimate, classic cruise vibe and are still to this day preferred by many Disney cruisers. The Dream and the Fantasy are larger than the first 2 original ships. They have a little bit more to offer kids in my opinion, but all of these are great choices. The Disney Dream was our first Disney cruise ship and we absolutely loved it. Now, the newer class of ships, so this is the Disney Wish and the Disney Treasure that are currently setting sail, and at the end of the year, the Disney Destiny will be joining you. These have a much different layout and feel than the other ships. Some people actually don't like the layout on these ships. We just sailed a 7-night itinerary on the Disney Treasure, and we loved it. We had an absolute blast. I especially loved the more Disney theming throughout the lounges and adult spaces on board for these ships. Along with choosing the ship is obviously choosing your itinerary. This may be what you are first focusing on, and it's going to limit what ships you have to choose from. So if you're looking to sail Alaska, that is the Disney Wonder. If you're looking more for the Caribbean to visit some of Disney's private islands, there are a bit more ship options there. There are even sailings over in Europe and Australia. So just depending on the time of year and the itinerary you are choosing, that is then going to help you narrow down which ship you're choosing. There are also specialty cruises like the Marvel Day at Sea. We did a Marvel Day at Sea sailing and we absolutely loved it. So those might be something to consider as well. So be sure to look at which ports are offered, see if they might interest you. I particularly love Disney's private islands, Disney Castaway Cay and Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point. Those are both amazing islands, family-friendly beach days. It doesn't get any easier than having a beach day at Disney's private islands. Some people prefer to stay on the ship at port, so just depending on what you're able to fit into your budget and your schedule, there are a lot of different variables there to consider. Staterooms. I love Disney cruise staterooms. They are designed with families in mind. Many of them have the split bathroom, which is great for families getting ready together, where you have one side will have a toilet and a sink, and the other side of the bathroom with a separate door will have a shower and another sink. Not all of the staterooms offer this, but most of them do. So just be on the lookout for that. Again, just getting on the ship anywhere is a plus. So if you can get a guarantee room or even an inside room at a great deal, go for it. Don't be afraid to take those options. But if you do have a little bit more flexibility in your choosing, location can matter to you. So many people prefer to be on higher decks. So you are closer to the pool decks, to the fun, to the buffets up there, the soda machines. Some people like to be on the lower decks. So you're really close to the kids club, the atrium, and those sort of activities. So just check out what the deck plans are for each ship and see where you might want to be located. Another location that you can choose is many people prefer midship. That is going to have the least amount of movement and rocking on a ship. So if you're worried about seasickness or how it might make you feel, I would aim for midship if possible. I have found on some of the older ships that sometimes the aft of the ship can have vibrations. It just kind of depends on how fast the ship is going. You also feel it sometimes going into port. So that is something to consider if you're looking at aft versus forward of the ship. However, in really rough seas, sometimes the forward of the ship can feel a little bit more of the rocky motion. So just look at the different options and see what might work best for you. So pricing and booking strategy, one thing about Disney Cruise Lines is very rarely do they offer deals or promotions, especially right now. Cruising is just so popular and these ships are practically filled. So you're not gonna see a lot of promotions coming out. So to get the best price with Disney Cruise Line is to book early. As soon as itineraries are released, you wanna book to get the best price possible because as the ship fills up and over time, those prices just increase and increase. For example, we booked our Disney Treasure sailing for this March 2025 as soon as it came out in fall 2023. By the time we sailed, our exact stateroom for our family was over $2,000 more. So we saved $2,000 just by booking early. And one thing I love about Disney Cruise Line, which differs from a lot of cruise lines, is their deposits for most staterooms is fully refundable. That means if you're not sure if you can sail or not, you can lock in your room and your price with a small deposit. And then if you have to cancel or change your plans, you can easily do so and get a full refund on your deposit before the final payment date. There are some restrictions to this, like guarantee staterooms and concierge staterooms, but for the most part, most of the staterooms, the deposit is fully refundable until that final payment date. Also, if there happens to be a new promotion, occasionally there's a Disney Plus subscriber promotion or other that might come out. If it is before your final payment date, I can usually get that adjusted for my clients. That's a free service I offer with my clients. I just monitor for new price drops and promotions and get them automatically applied if it is applicable to their sailing. Another way to get the best prices for cruises, and this is something we have taken advantage of, if you are able to travel outside of the typical school break vacation, you will get a much better deal than if you are traveling during spring break, summer, or winter break. Those prices just increase exponentially because of how popular they are during those dates. So if you are able to sail during more of an off season, you can get some great deals. So our latest cruise, we sailed 2 weeks before my daughter's actual spring break because it saved us a good amount of money. Our next Disney cruise on the Destiny is booked for the January because the pricing was a good deal. So if you are able to be flexible and make that work, you can get a lot of savings by going in the off season for typical school schedules. As we're talking about schedules, this is another thing you need to take into consideration. I see way too many posts about disappointed cruisers on all cruise lines because they tried to fly in the day of their cruise or late the night before and they missed their cruise due to flight delays. I will tell you this right now. Do not trust airlines to get you there on time if you do not allow yourself enough time. So when you are deciding on your budget, your cruise itinerary, and your dates, allow yourself at least coming in the day prior to the cruise port. If you can swing 2-3 days prior, even better. Gives you some time to explore the city that you're visiting and just relax a little bit before you head on the ship. The cruise ships wait for no one, so give yourself that extra buffer time so you can enjoy your vacation and not start out stressed that you're gonna miss the cruise ship somehow. Travel documents, so you will want to know in advance what travel documents you will need for your cruises. It does vary by itinerary, but for most closed loop cruises from the US that return to the US, you can sail if you are a US citizen with just your birth certificate, and anyone 16 years and over will also have to have a government issued ID. So again, make sure you read the website thoroughly and you are aware of exactly what travel documents you need, that you have them all, or at least you have time to get them. Of course, sailing with a passport is the best thing that you can do. If something were to happen and you get stranded in another country or you need to fly back from an emergency, you will want to be glad that you have a passport on you. So I always recommend to my clients, especially if you can get a passport, you really should get one. Next, let's discuss what is included in your Disney cruise fare and what is not included. So Disney cruise fare includes, of course, your stateroom, your accommodations, and your itinerary. That also includes most of your dining options. So you will have food available to you, breakfast, lunch, dinner. There's snack options available on board. Disney Cruise Line is also one of the few cruise lines where soda is included if you get it up at the dining rooms, the buffet, or the drink station on the pool deck. It is an additional charge if you order it on room service, so be aware of that. Room service is also included, but I always recommend you bring tips. You can either sign the tip on the bill that they bring, or I like to bring cash and give cash each time that you order room service. There are additional dining costs if you were to book one of the adult exclusive dining, or if you get snacks from, the theater snack shop like popcorn, candy, those sort of things. So there are some places where snacks and food might be an additional cost, but you can go on a Disney cruise and not spend an extra dollar on dining if you want to. The entertainment is another perk with Disney Cruise Line. Disney Cruise Line offers 3 Broadway style shows on every cruise, and they differ cruise by cruise. These are some of our favorite things about Disney Cruise Line. The actors, the characters, the storytelling, it is just all amazing and magical, and you will not want to miss these shows. Also, many Disney Cruise Lines have deck parties, so a lot of the Caribbean sailings will have the pirate night. That includes a big pirate deck party and ends in fireworks at the end of the night, weather permitting. They are the only cruise line that offers fireworks at sea, and it is really cool to experience. The Kids Club. Kids Club for ages 3 and up, if you are potty trained, are all included in the cost of your cruise fare. This is our daughter's favorite thing about sailing Disney Cruise Line. She has sailed other cruise lines, and Disney just takes the cake on their kids clubs. If we let her, she'd probably be in the kids club the entire cruise and we would never see her. But they even get to meet characters. There's different rooms in the kids clubs. So definitely check those out. There will be open houses available when you get on board, so you can go check them out with your children and get them comfortable with them as well. Now, there is a small fee for the band if you do not have a Disney band or a Magic band. They give you a kids club band and you basically pay a small fee up front for it, but then you get that refunded back to you as long as you return the band. That's how they check them in and out of the kids club. Also, character experiences are included on a Disney cruise. You will find characters galore. You can check the Disney Cruise Navigator app to see the location and the timing of them. Sometimes there's longer lines for them, so you will want to plan accordingly. And there's also on most sailings the Royal Gathering, which is a free meet and greet with Disney princesses, but there is one caveat: you have to reserve it in advance, and I'll talk about that a little later. So now that we covered everything that is included in your cruise fare, here is what is not included in your cruise fare, so you will want to take this into account when you are budgeting and planning for your trip. So 1, gratuities are not included in your cruise fare. However, you have the option to add on prepaid gratuities. The prepaid gratuities, they go to the cast members behind the scenes that are just making your trip magical. So this is your stateroom attendant, your dining room attendants. It gets split up amongst them, and you are charged a per person per day fee. We really like to add them on in advance so we don't have to worry about them on board. And then you do have the option to add on additional tip either to your onboard account if you go to guest services, or you can leave cash at the end of the cruise. There'll be little envelopes that you can leave for each of your cast members that assisted you. Excursions, or port adventures as Disney Cruise Line likes to call them, are not included in your cruise fare, so this may be another thing you want to budget for. However, if you are visiting things like Disney's private island, you can honestly have an amazing day on either of the private islands without spending a single penny. So that is one perk of visiting the private islands, and then depending on where else you might be traveling, you'll want to budget for those. Alaska excursions can be a little bit more on the pricey side, so you'll want to factor that in when you are planning your ship and itinerary. Other things that are not included are alcoholic beverages, spa treatments, as I mentioned, those adult exclusive dining if you were to book them, and also the photo package. I highly recommend you get the photo package for the entirety of your trip. There is a slight discount if you purchase it in advance. Then if you're on board and you decide, hey, we didn't get as many pictures as we wanted, or we don't really like these pictures, you can actually go request a refund on the photo package as long as you haven't downloaded any photos or used it. So again, you can have an amazing Disney cruise without spending extra money on any of these things, but depending on what your vacation style is, you may want to budget for a few of them. Booking windows and deadlines. We've got to discuss these because these are very important dates and something that I see a lot of first-time cruisers not be aware of, maybe until it's too late. So you really want to know about these as soon as you book your cruise, or maybe in advance, because if you are booking a last-minute cruise, it might already be past your booking window, so you may already be starting with some limited options available for you, especially for onboard activities, port adventures, those sort of things. So your booking window and your online check-in, those dates are determined by your Castaway Club status. And your Castaway Club status is how many times you've sailed with Disney Cruise Line. So for your first Disney cruise, you are considered a new cruiser. You technically do not have a Castaway Club status. So you will be the last group of cruisers to book any activities such as port adventure, onboard activities, adult exclusive dining, that sort of thing. You will also be the last one to complete your online check-in. The more you've sailed with Disney, the earlier you get to do those those things and have more advantage to get things that book up quickly or get an earlier online check-in, which is when you choose your port arrival time. So this is a detail you will not want to overlook. As soon as I book my clients, I give them a detailed email that lists out all of these dates, everything they need to know to prepare. I send reminder emails, and I even assist with some of these things if they need it. So expectations, I just want you to be realistic going to a Disney cruise, because again, I hear a lot of comments or I see posts, reviews in Facebook groups. So one thing is setting your expectations and knowing what you're getting into before your Disney cruise. So I just want to say a Disney cruise is not a typical relaxing cruise vacation. We find that we are go, go, go the entire time. That's just our style. We like to do a lot of stuff, but there is so much to do on board. You may feel a little bit of that as well. So ships can be packed with families and activities. You'll see on your cruise line app as soon as you're connected to the ship's Wi-Fi that there is a lot going on throughout the day, running around to meet characters, to see shows, all of that good stuff. So just be prepared. You may be running around a lot on board, but it can be really fun if you have your expectations set correctly. For adults, there are adults only areas on some of the ships, although they vary in what they offer, and they are pretty small and can also be pretty crowded. I will say I prefer the adults only pool on, say, the Disney Dream and the Disney Fantasy, as opposed to the one on the newer ships like the Wish and the Treasure. So that's just something to take into consideration. You may want to watch some YouTube videos, read some reviews if these are things that are important to you. All in all, I would say just be ready to embrace the chaos with the fun, really go with the flow, don't feel like you have to do everything, and if you can squeeze in some time for relaxation, I highly recommend doing so. And especially take advantage of those kids club, get yourself a nice fun dinner, maybe without the kids, or go enjoy one of the adults lounges, because their kids club are also open until midnight and you do not have to pay for those late hours like you do on some other cruise lines. All right, so I promised it. Here are the 3 mistakes that I see families make the most and how you can avoid them. 1, missing the Royal Gathering. So I mentioned this briefly before. The Royal Gathering is a free princess meet and greet that you have to book in advance. And at this meet and greet, there are usually 4 to 5 princesses. It's a really fun, easy way that you can meet each of them, take pictures, have them sign autograph books. We just absolutely love it. But like I said, you have to have a reservation and they book up quickly. But here's the great thing about the Royal Gathering. The booking window for this opens for all guests at 30 days prior to sailing. That means regardless of whether you're a new cruiser or you've cruised 20 times with Disney Cruise Line, you will have the same opportunity to book this, but you have to be ready to do so. Since it opens at the 30-day window prior to sailing, this is the same time that new cruisers do their online check-in. So if you are a new cruiser and you want to get the Royal Gathering, I highly recommend that that is the first thing you do at the 30-day window mark. Be logged in, be ready to go. You're going to click the onboard activities for the day that you want and select your time. Then you can worry about completing your online check-in, uploading your documents, completing all of the forms, and selecting your port arrival time. If for some reason you miss it and you aren't able to book the Royal Gathering, as soon as you are on the ship, head straight to guest services and see if they have any spots available. They may be able to put you on a wait list and there's a chance that a spot could open up and you might be able to get it. If for some reason you can't get the Royal Gathering, do not worry. There'll be plenty of opportunities for you to meet other characters while on board the ship. Number 2, I see a lot of families upset about their dining time, and even some threaten to cancel their cruise if they can't get the earlier dining time. While I understand that it can be hard to have a later dining time with younger kids, there are a few things I want to consider. 1, if you want to get the best chance at getting an early dining time, book early, because like I said, this will fill up quickly. You can get on the wait list and you may not know if you're off that wait list until closer to sailing or even once on board. If you've been on the wait list, it's your sailing day, you can head straight to guest services or the designated area on board for dining requests, and you may be able to make the request while you are on board. However, if you cannot switch it and you are stuck with the late dining time, do not worry, because there may actually be a benefit to having it. For 1, we are coming from Colorado, so we are on Mountain Standard Time. So when we travel to Eastern Standard Time, that time difference makes the late dinner not feel as late for us. It's an 8:30 dinner, but really it's 6:30 p.m. our time. So take that into consideration. Also, if you have the later dining time, we had our first cruise and we actually had the early dining time and we missed it a couple times because we were having fun in the pool or we were tired from getting back on from our cruise ports. So we actually wanted the later dining time the next time we sailed with Disney. And as I mentioned, the show times are basically the opposite of your dining time. So if you have the early dining time, you may risk your little ones being tired for the evening shows. And I've said this before, the shows are amazing. I actually prefer the shows over the rotational dining. So if I had to choose one, I would go with the shows and then maybe feed my kids room service or eat up on the pool decks or elsewhere. Another thing I see is families disappointed about their port arrival time. Like I mentioned, if you are a new cruiser, you are going to be in the last group to do your online check-in and select your port arrival time. That means you might have a later port arrival time, so you will be getting on the ship later than other guests. Although this is not a big deal to most, if this is something that is really important to you, there is a little bit of a hack that might be able to get you an earlier boarding time than if you were to just do your normal online check-in. This is where I recommend you book the Disney Cruise Line transportation if it is available to you at your port. This will almost always get you an earlier boarding time if you are a new cruiser at least. It does vary a bit by ship itinerary and how busy and packed the ships are, but I know for us on our latest Disney cruise with the Disney Treasure, the day that we were checking in with the other cruisers, many of them were getting boarding groups in the 20s, and because we had the Disney Cruise Line shuttle, we didn't have to rush to complete our online check-in and we were given boarding group 4. As soon as the Disney Cruise Line shuttle arrived at the port, we were able to get off, go through, and board the ship. So there was no waiting time there. So that's just a little hack that might give you an earlier port arrival time, although it's not a guarantee. All this to say that planning the perfect Disney cruise does take some strategy and a little bit of research, but trust me, the memories are totally worth it in the end. If you'd like help planning your Disney cruise, I am a travel agent that specializes in Disney Cruise Line, and my services are free when you book your trip with me. I help you make the most out of your vacation. I remind you of all of these important dates. I help you select the best ship itinerary, all of that good stuff, so you don't have to worry about it. Also, if you've booked on your own in the past 30 days, you may be able to transfer your cruise to me so I can assist you anyways. So just reach out and see if that situation might apply to you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications for more family vacation tips, tricks, vlogs, and everything you need to know about planning memorable vacations, whether it be Disney, cruises, or elsewhere around the world. We're here to help you.